Hello and welcome to another edition of Cranky Gun Reviews. It is New Year's Eve, December 31st, 2021. Boy, what a year it's been. There's been so much crap that's gone on this year. There's been some really big wins, like in the Kyle Rittenhouse case, and there's been a lot of gun legislation that's been trying to get passed. But overall, for me personally, it's been a pretty good year. I got a promotion at my job, although that's kind of a backhanded compliment because I got a promotion because they fired 2 other people, and I was kind of heavily suggested to take over the position, but it's been good for me. My family's growing well. For those of you that don't know, I have a full-time job. I have a wife and 2 kids, an 11-year-old daughter and an 8-year-old son. And so doing videos, doing anything outside of my family takes time away from them. And even though a lot of my videos may not necessarily seem like they're high-quality production, they still do take time. Every video usually takes, 2, 3, 4 hours to go out to the range, set up, shoot, clean up, come back, edit the videos and everything else. And a lot of the videos I do at home, the benchtop reviews and things like that, I do because I can do them after my kids go to bed or while my wife's working or both. So 2021 has been a good year for me. I've had a lot of turnover in firearms. I've sold quite a few. I've bought quite a few. Largely, I've gotten almost every single firearm that I've been looking for the last few years. But at the end of the year, you need to let go of the old things and bring in some new ones. So last few weeks, I've done some videos on some new firearms that I've had for months. Some of them I just don't get the videos to do. So I have stuff that's been sitting for quite a while. I've been trying to put up little teasers here and there about things that I'm working on. In the Taurus G3C video that I did last week, I was talking about a couple of firearms that I'm still looking for that I haven't found in quite some time. So a couple days ago, I was talking to a buddy of mine who works in a shop, and I was debating what to do with certain guns that I've had for a while, mainly my Shield, which is a Smith & Wesson M&P Shield 1.0, which has an Apex trigger kit in it. I had bought 7 magazines for it, a holster and everything else, and I really enjoy shooting it. But with the Shield Plus coming out, I thought, well, maybe it would be a good idea to trade in the Shield 1.0 towards a Shield Plus, because you get a better trigger on the Shield Plus, plus you get the ability to have 10-round capacity in the magazines and virtually the same size frame that you had with the Shield 1.0. So I pretty much made my mind up that I was going to get rid of my Shield. And then the LC9S Ruger that I have, I really enjoy shooting that gun. It has a phenomenal trigger, but it has a very small capacity, 7 rounds or 9 rounds. Really, you can only carry 7 rounds with it if you want it to be concealable. The 9-round magazine is just a little bit too long. And the main thing that I don't like about that particular firearm is when you take it down, you have to take out a little tiny roll pin. Now, I'm usually pretty good when I clean stuff. It's on a bench in my room, so I haven't ever lost one of those pins, but that's one of those things that always kind of bothered me a little bit. Also, the particular one that I had, once in a while when I would holster it in my 3 o'clock, I use a lot of holsters that are half leather and half Kydex, the hybrid holsters. And for whatever reason, the safety on the EC9S, sometimes when I would put it in the holster, the safety would disengage. Now, I'm not opposed to not having a safety on a handgun. My Shield does not have a safety, but the Shield trigger inherently is safe without a safety on the gun because it's a really long pull before it breaks. The EC9S has more of a target trigger. It's very light. It's a shorter pull, so I don't particularly want that gun to not have the safety functioning. I had taken the gun out of the frame. I had opened up the spring for the safety to put some more tension on it. I couldn't quite get it where I wanted it, so that was another one that I thought was on the chopping block. And then, maybe hard for some of you to hear, my Sig Sauer P238 Nitron model that had the nice Pachmayr grips on it, that was another one that, frankly, I don't hardly ever carry it, and I almost never shoot it. So I decided I wanted to sell that one as well. And really what I've been after for the last couple of months, year, and so on, a Smith & Wesson J-frame Model 36 with a 3-inch barrel. If you go way back to my first and second video, that was really the gun that I had that started my channel, was a Smith & Wesson square butt 3-inch Model 36-1 from 1981. It was a fantastic gun. The bluing was amazing on it. It had 1 scratch on the barrel, little bit of muzzle wear, but it was just a phenomenal gun. And I had it for like 4 or 5 years. And then when I wanted to buy my Ruger SP101, I decided to trade in my Model 36 and my first gen Smith & Wesson Bodyguard 380, which had a laser on it. So I traded those in. I went and bought the SP101, ended up walking out with a little bit of cash. I was happy. And then as I started looking at how the market's been changing lately, J-frames and Smith & Wesson revolvers and most revolvers in general, the prices have been skyrocketing. So ever since I sold that 3-inch, I regretted it. It was a great shooting gun. It's really what got me into revolvers. It was the first revolver I bought. And ever since then, I kind of wanted to get another one. So earlier, a few weeks ago, I'd been looking online. I always try to find new places to shop, because if you always shop at the same 3 or 4 stores, yeah, they're going to get some turnover. They'll get some good deals once in a while, but it's always best to try to find the small hole-in-the-wall shops that are out in the middle of nowhere. They'll often have really cool stuff that a lot of the other shops don't have. So a couple weeks ago, I was searching the internet when I was at work. On my lunch break, I don't waste my company's time when I'm looking for stuff. But I found a Smith & Wesson 3-inch J-frame with a pin barrel. It's a little bit older than the other one I had. I think this one's was like a 77, 78 year range based on the serial number. And it was a little bit worse for the wear. But this is now my second 3-inch barrel J-frame. This is a round butt. Now the funny thing is, these particular models, with a 3-inch barrel, I don't particularly like the round butt on these. I like them with a square butt, a little bit bigger. It makes it more proportionate. That's why I also like the 4-inch K-frame and the 4-inch GP100, because they look more symmetric. In this particular gun, the bluing is not perfect on it. There's actually quite a bit of bluing wear on the back strap up here. There's some wear on this side of the frame from a strap being in a holster. You know, there's holster wear down here. But I actually like shooter quality guns. I like guns that you can take out. You don't care if they have a little bluing wear on them. This one, the barrel has a little bit of tarnishing on it where some of the bluings come off. But it's a great shooter quality piece. And these, if you look on Gun Broker, they've been going anywhere from $550 to $800, $900 in some cases. And again, this one, it has the original stocks on it. They're very worn from taking it in and out of the holster. You can see how worn down these are. The checkering and everything is very worn down. But it's in pretty nice shape, and this is empty, so nobody freaks out that I'm pointing it at myself. But I've gone through it, I've cleaned it. The cylinder lockup on it is very tight, and when you push on the hammer, it's not going to drop the hammer. So it's been heavily carried, it's been lightly shot. Very nice Smith & Wesson 36-1 J-frame with a 3-inch barrel. So that crosses another item off my list. That was a couple weeks ago. Going back to the EC9S, the SIG P238, and the Shield, today I was planning on going out. There was a couple of guns that had gotten traded in at one of my favorite shops, Four Seasons Guns up in Woburn. And they had a couple of things in stock that I wanted to go in and look at. One of them was a Shield Plus that had been traded in. It was for $400. I figured it was a great deal. So I went in with my Shield and I went in with my P238 thinking maybe I could trade those two in. They also had one other gun that I'm going to show you in a minute, but start off with the Shield. So I brought in the P238, I brought in the Shield, and they really didn't offer me what I was expecting to get. The P238 Nitron, I don't think they've made in recent years. So it's been pretty desirable. I've seen them going for between $600 and $800 used, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. But it's good for somebody if they want to sell. When the market's high, you sell. You buy when the market's low. But they didn't give me what I wanted for that, so I decided to keep the P238 in the Shield, at least not sell it to that shop. And instead of getting the Shield Plus, because after thinking about it all this time, in Massachusetts, the Shield triggers still are 10.5 pounds. So even though you get the nice expanded capacity in the gun, you get the nice flat apex trigger, you still have a 10.5 pound trigger pull. So even if I bought a Shield Plus for $400, which it was virtually brand new, somebody basically just bought it, didn't like it, and traded it back in. It was virtually brand new, all the paperwork, the box, 2 magazines. If I bought it, I wouldn't have been happy with it. I would have had to put an Apex trigger spring kit in it, which is about another $100, or if I had a gunsmith do it, $125, something like that. And I really didn't want to buy the gun, put more money into it, and then have to replace all the magazines that I traded in with my Shield 1. So I decided rather just to keep my Shield, not even bother trying to trade it in anywhere else, because I have 7 magazines for it, and it's functional, it's great, everything on it works great. What I did do was buy some +2 bases for the Shield magazines. You can get them on eBay, they're like $22 for 2 of them. So I put 2 of those, one on a 7-round magazine, one on an 8-round magazine, and now I have a 9-round and a 10-round magazine that I can use with that. And yeah, it adds, you know, a ½ inch to the bottom of the magazine, but for practicing, it works perfectly fine. I'm not going to carry it with 10 rounds because it sticks out really far. Yes, I know my Shield has 7+1 when I carry it with the small magazine, but you know, statistics and all that stuff say you really don't need that many shots when you're in a large gunfight. I usually bring an extra magazine when I carry that anyway, so it's not really a big concern for me. So all that aside, I'm keeping the Shield. So I ended out, instead of getting the Shield Plus, with another gun that has been on my want list for a very, very long time. And I'm going to start out showing you what the box is. That says Smith & Wesson 2232 Kit Gun, Model 34. And 2 things about this piqued my interest. This came up last night on the used website, and it was a bit pricey, but compared to what I've seen them selling for on Gunbroker, it really wasn't that bad. It's a Model 34-1, 22 long rifle, snub nose revolver. So it is a true kit gun. What they say, you throw it in your backpack in your kit and you bring it with when you're going out in the woods. It's missing the rear sight, which kind of stinks, but from everything I can tell with this gun, it has never been fired. If I'll put some pictures in here in a little bit, but the front of the cylinder still has perfect machine marks on it. There's no powder burning, there's no scratch marks from cleaning it. The forcing cone on the barrel has a perfect chamfer. You can still see the machine marks on it. It's not scratched up from somebody cleaning it, trying to clean the powder out. There's no burn marks on the top of the frame. There's no powder buildup or burn marks on the back of the cylinder near the firing pin. Everything about this gun tells me that I think it was never fired. I don't know why it's missing the rear sight, but it came in the original box in the wax paper with the original toolkit, the original paperwork, the registration documentation, the NRA registration documentation, and everything. I have never gotten a vintage anything that came with the original box and the original paperwork. So right off the bat, the box and the paperwork make this gun worth about $100 to $125 more, maybe even more for somebody that's more serious of a collector than I am. The fact that I think this gun has never been fired just blows my mind. So I think what might have happened, somebody bought this thing, and as near as I can trace it, it's got to be early 60s maybe. It doesn't have the letter prefix in the serial number. It's a 6-digit serial number, and it starts with 133. So if anybody knows what year this is, please tell me. But it is a Model 36-1. It's a pin barrel. So I know it's definitely somewhere between 1961, 63, and 1981, because that was when they stopped using the pin barrels. But I think it's a very early model, somewhere 62, 63, somewhere around there. Not sure. The grips on it have a little damage in the finish on them, and but they're not worn whatsoever. So they have some damage from like the finish getting moisture in it where it just lifted the finish, but they're not worn whatsoever. There's like no wear anywhere on this gun. It is in such nice shape. You can see the turn mark on the cylinder. It looks like somebody just fiddled with it once in a while, would take it out, would run the cylinder a few times, but it doesn't look like it's ever been fired. I mean, there's a little tiny bit of wear on the very end of the muzzle, not around the outside of it. I don't think it's ever been carried. I literally think somebody bought it, something happened with the sights, or they took the sights off for whatever reason, thinking it would work more like a regular J-frame where it has the U-notch in it, because these do have target sights on them. And they just put it in the box and never used it. So this was a fantastic find. This is something, again, I have loved these forever. I mean, a J-frame snub nose to me with a round butt is just about the sweetest looking gun you can get. This particular one, being in 22 long rifle, makes it even that much more desirable for me. You can see it's clear, but you won't really be able to see how good the front of this cylinder looks, but all the machine marks are still on there. There's never been powder burns or anything that I can tell. So it's in fantastic condition. And again, you won't really be able to see the condition of the forcing cone, but on the end of the barrel, you can still see the machine marks. You can see the perfect chamfer on the forcing cone. I don't think this thing's ever been fired. So that's number 2 off of my all-time favorite wanted list, is this Model 34-1 22 long rifle kit gun. So after I left that shop, I drove all the way to another shop, Matt's Shop Firearms in Gardner, Massachusetts, which I've dealt with them several times before. I usually go there first to sell stuff to him because he usually pays a little bit more. Everything he has in his store is unique and usually in pristine condition. So I went to him and I brought my P238 and my EC9S into him to trade in, and we ended up striking a bargain on something else. Now this, in lieu of getting rid of the P238, the reason I like the P238, it looks like a 1911, kind of functions like a 1911, pretty nice gun. I didn't shoot it as well as I shot my Smith & Wesson Bodyguard, which is ironic because the Bodyguard has really crummy sights, really low sights, but I tend to shoot those really well because I shoot revolver so much, and I'm used to that really short U-notch with the tall front post sight, so I shoot my Bodyguard very well. But being that I like 1911 style guns, I ended up making a deal for this beauty, which is a Colt government model, Series 80 Mark IV in 380 auto. It is a gorgeous stainless steel gun. You can see right there, Colt Mark IV, Series 80. And the guy at Matt Shot, I've dealt with him a bunch of times. He has a Facebook page. I'm always checking it out. I'm always forwarding stuff to my friends. I'm always talking about, trying to find out what stuff he's selling. And I went in and talked to him. We made a deal. So after all was said and done, I traded in the P238 and the EC9S, and I ended out selling the extra magazines that I had for the P238, the extra magazine I had for the EC9S, and I ended up paying roughly $35 or $40 out of pocket for this, after I ended up selling all the additional stuff that I had, because I already got friends that want to buy the additional magazines. I'm not sure the year on this particular guy. I have to try to look it up. But this is another one set up just like a 1911, has the same takedown function where you push in the pin, rotate the little bushing on the end, has the same type of takedown lever, and there's not a lot of scratching on this frame. So this is another one that has been well cared for. And now, again, I wasn't really after this necessarily, but the fact that it's a 1911 style gun, it's a Colt. So this is my second Colt. My other one is my Detective Special. And after I took this apart and cleaned it, I can tell it's been used. I don't think it's been abused a lot. It's got, some small scratches here and there on the frame, but it's probably from the 1980s anyway. And it looks like it's been pretty well cared for. It might not have been stored the best, but it's been pretty well cared for. It has the original Colt grips on it, and it came with 3 magazines. They threw in a soft case for it, and they also gave me an aluminum water bottle, which was always nice. It's nice to get freebies. So at the very end of the year, December 31st, I've crossed off 2 more of my, not so much unicorn guns. The 34-1, that was definitely a unicorn gun. But the Model 36-1, that was another one that I've been after for quite a while. I think realistically, the only thing I'm still looking for is a Ruger LCR in 22 long rifle. And Matt Shot actually had one. If I didn't buy the Colt, I probably would have made a deal for that and walked out with cash in my pocket. But realistically, I can get those anytime. It's not a rare gun. So for me to find something like this Colt that I can take a little bit of pride in and say that it's another unique type of firearm, definitely worthwhile. So last year for me has been fantastic. In 2022, the only thing I can promise is that I will try to get better content. Sometimes I go back and watch my videos and I realize that the content's just horrible. The camera angles are horrible, but I'm one guy doing all this stuff myself. I'm fully self-funded. That's why I'm trading stuff in. I'm selling stuff. I'm selling tractors for my other hobby and tractor tires and engines and things like that to be able to fund this. And then if I need something for my other hobby, I can always go sell a gun because they're always worth something. I did supply some of my friends with ammo in the last 2 years when the shortage was really bad. Had a couple of people just getting into firearms and I helped them out with some 9mm, 223 and some other calibers. So trying to keep the whole 2A community going as much as possible and using one of my hobbies to fund my other hobbies so that I can keep going doing this. I really appreciate, since COVID started, everybody's been stuck at home, bored half the time. My viewership grew from something like 93 viewers. I think I'm up to about 1,843 viewers or something like that. So for a little guy like me that's self-funded, that just, most of the videos I just do for fun. I do them because I have questions about things, and when I can answer them, I put it out there, and if it helps somebody, that's great. I get criticized for a lot of the things I do, but I don't really care. I'm not here to make friends. I'm not really here to appease everybody that's out there on the internet. The internet is a cruel place. I put out content which is better than most of the people that come and criticize my videos. They create their own YouTube handle. They go out there, watch 5,000 videos, comment on all of them, and never put content out. So you can say what you want about me. I am the way that I am. I love doing what I do. I'm not a marksman. I'm not a gunsmith, but I've just really had an appreciation for firearms since I was a kid. I am going to start a new series at some point, and it's going to be a lot of probably 5 to 10 minute long videos talking about why I like specific firearms. And I've mentioned it before, things like the Colt Detective Special. I like it because of the Rockford Files. It's my favorite TV show. And, you know, just the fact that he carried a detective special in his show was really something that I thought was cool. So, you know, that was one of them. The Derringer, the Bond Arms Derringer. There's a Disney movie series called The Apple Dumpling Gang that came out when I was a kid. And one of the main characters in the Apple Dumpling Gang, Mr. Donovan, carried a Derringer. There's a couple parts in the movie where he gets scared by people and he pulls out his little Derringer and he's holding it. It's just things like that spark memories in my mind that make me want to go out and buy these particular firearms. So I have a whole list of stuff that I want to basically put down, if it's not a type of firearm and why I like it, a specific brand or model that I like for a reason. So just some fun stuff that I have coming next year. Again, I just thank everybody so much for coming out here and watching my videos, commenting on them. You know, my average viewership on a video is between like 80 and 100 views. I don't really care. I'm not doing this to make a lot of money. If it ever took off and I made tons of money on it, I don't really know what I do because I don't have that much time. I work a full-time job. So that's why my videos are somewhat lower quality. They're somewhat, they're not always great production. I'm using an iPhone 7 or something like that to do my videos still because that's just what I have. Most of the editing I do is in the software that's on the phone in iMovie. I do plan eventually to start doing some better stuff on my computer so I can get better editing in there. Another thing I've been doing lately is some of the music I've been putting in my videos. I've actually taken up playing guitar again. So if you hear some really cheesy guitar licks at the beginning of the movie, that's me. That's actually me playing them. So something else I'm getting back into, I play drums as well. And I want to get back into recording guitar and drums that I can use in my own videos so I don't have to worry about getting demonetized. Even though realistically I make about $130 every 6 weeks on YouTube, it's not like I'm making a lot of money. Just to throw that out there, but every little bit goes back into funding something else for my channel. So there you have my 2021 end of the year New Year's Eve special. I really don't plan on making these things. I never script them, so I just come here and I sit down and I talk to you, and now it's been almost 30 minutes that I've been on this video, so I'm going to cut it short because just listening to somebody yak for 30 minutes isn't always that much fun. But I do have some more content coming. I'm going to get into deep dives on the Model 36, the Model 34, the Colt government model. and a few other things that I've got as well. Can't wait to get out and shoot my Ruger Mark pistols and the Taurus G3C. Those are all new to me. Haven't shot them before. And, you know, I can't promise that I'm going to have elephant guns or 50 BMGs. Yeah, it's getting late. It's almost 10 o'clock at night. My kids want to stay up till midnight, so I'm trying to do the best I can. They're playing video games, so I can come do my video. We'll go downstairs and watch a video up until just about midnight so we can watch the ball drop, and then they can say they've done it. I keep telling them it's nothing big. It's the end of the year, the ball drops, you say Happy New Year, and you go to bed. Big deal. But anyway, thank you again for watching. What I was trying to say was, I can't guarantee I'm going to have any elephant guns or 50 BMGs on my channel. And there's some people out there that would say, well, James, if you stop buying low-end 9mm handguns and tons of J-frames, you could just save up for a year and buy a 50 BMG or buy a, you know, 4570 or buy a 458 lot. I don't really care. I would love to have a 50 BMG. I would love to have a Barrett M99 or M9 or I think it's an M99 or an M82. I don't know what they are, but I would love to have a 50 BMG Barrett bolt action. I would love to have one. I can't shoot one around here. There's only one range that I know close to me that I can go to, and it's an hour away. I'm not a member there, so I have to get a buddy to go with me. I can't shoot a 50 BMG at my range. So for me, it's kind of a waste. And realistically, the 308 Ruger American and the 450 Bushmaster Ruger American and my Mosin Nagant have enough punch in them that I don't really care to shoot a bigger gun than that. The 450 Bushmaster, it's a pretty good punch when you're trying to bench rest shoot it. And I'm not that accurate standing up and shooting something that's that big. So I do bench rest shoot it when I shoot it. But anyway, that's enough rambling. I'm coming up to 30 minutes. I really didn't plan on doing a video this long. I just want to thank you all again. Wish everybody a Happy New Year from Cranky Gun Reviews. God bless America. Make sure you support your two-way rights. Get involved with Gun Owners Action League and all those good places that you have that are going out there and trying to fight for our freedoms to keep our two-way rights. Make sure you just have a great time. Be safe out there. Make sure you adhere to the 4 basic safety rules. Always treat a gun like it's loaded. Keep your finger off the trigger unless you're willing to fire. Don't shoot at anything you're not willing to destroy, and always know what's beyond your target. And I'll add into that, don't become complacent with firearms, because if you get too comfortable with them, you could injure yourself. And I've talked about that earlier this year as well. Also, make sure when you go to the range, as much as you can, definitely wear hearing protection, wear eye protection as much as you can. You see me in some of my videos taking my eye pro off when I'm shooting at paper targets. That's mainly because, like this time of year, it's 25, 30, 40 degrees outside. My glasses tend to fog up. And if I'm shooting at targets 25 or 50 yards away, more than likely I'm not going to have an issue with anything coming back at me. Although I have had some instances where I shot some cheap like brass max ammo and I had bits of lead and powder and stuff flying out of the cases. So I do try to wear eye pro as much as possible. But enough said. Happy New Year. Here's to a better 2022. Let's just pray that things get better and that we get some break in all of this gun control BS, and that politics and COVID and everything will get back to normal. I just can't wait to have some normalcy back. But thanks again for watching. Have a great night. God bless America.